bug guard, 30% with this. So you don't need 100% DEET. Sometimes you'll see it advertised in like Walmart or Target, 100% repels ticks. And people think like, well, I really hate ticks. I don't want a tick on my body. Do I go with the 20% or the 50%? I really hate them. I'm going to go with the higher percent. You don't need that. You just need 20% or more. They haven't shown the greater repellency with that. They've just shown longer term repellency. So you might have to reapply the 20% one more often than the 100%. But for me, if you don't want to overexpose yourself to any of these things, I just stick with the 20%. I actually use picaridin. I like that one the most because DEET has that funky smell. Picaridin is almost scentless. And so I like that. And they also make a cream with that. So instead of spritzing your face with the DEET, I take the cream and put it on almost like sunscreen. So you can put it on this, and it lasts like 10 hours or something. So, and then I put it on my legs too when I go hiking. And then some people just take your pick as long as it's EPA registered. That's the big thing. And you can always know if a product's EPA registered because it'll have an EPA registration number. And that's really important. So why is that important? Well, you have these other products called 25B exempt products. These are typically your all-natural products, or like sometimes people call it like the home remedies. They're things that what EPA has said, we don't require testing and we don't require documentation to prove that these things are safe or effective. We're just going to assume that you guys are using these things safely and you can do whatever you want with it. And then that's it. So a lot of these things are like your essential oils that you might have. One of the crazy things about this is if you don't use them properly, they can also still be very dangerous. So essential oils are the top reason for calls to the ASPCA's Animal Poison Control Center for tick product related concerns. And this is the center's medical director. This is what she's documented, is misuse of essential oils on animals is the #1 call to the ASPCA. So very, very shocking. So if you're going to go with some of these 25B exempt products, just make sure that you really are weighing out those risks. Just because it's natural doesn't mean it's safe. And I kind of tend to think that you're putting your life in that guy's hands, whoever created those oils, versus with a DEET product, you have that EPA registration number. It says on the back, apply every 4 hours. As long as you're following that directions, you're safe. You're safe and it's going to work the way it's intended because they have documentation on file proving that that works. So then that's it. So that's protecting yourself. So, the permethrin on your clothes, the repellents on your skin. Tick checks are a safety net. I hate to say it. I feel like every time I say this, people are like, I thought you were going to tell me how I can live my life without a single tick check. I'm sorry, I can't. Like I said, when I wear the permethrin, I don't find a single tick on my body. It's close to 100%. They did one study where people wore just it on their shoes and socks, and it was over 99% effective. But it wasn't 100%. And so there's still that risk. And I kind of like the idea of knowing that, 99%, if I walk out into a field with 100 ticks and there's 1 on me versus walking on getting 100 on me, that's kind of a nice thing to know. But you still have to do it, and you get really good at it, you get really fast. Behind your hairline is good. If your vision isn't as good as it used to be, try your fingertips, or, I like to do it right before I get in the shower. A buddy of mine, as soon as I told him that ticks could be down there, he started doing it every time he went to the bathroom. And I don't know if he just likes the view, but that's what he just told me. He's like, I do it every single time. I'm like, I don't know if he just keeps looking down there. I'm not sure. What do you look for? So I've got some ticks here. This time of year, we're looking for this particular tick here. This is the adult stage tick. And that's going to be about the size of a sesame seed. When late April, like around May, when that hits, we're looking for this stage tick, and that's about the size of a poppy seed. And that one is very difficult to see, and we think it's responsible for the vast majority of cases. Not only because it's so hard to see, but April, May, June, July, August, that's when most of the people are outside. Most people are not outside doing a lot of hiking and fishing and biking this time of the year.
Is that the one that carries betabizia, the small one?
They all can.
Okay.
They all can. So those 2 life stages can carry any number of those diseases that I mentioned.
I had no tick, but yet I had the symptoms. It must have fallen off.
This one's the larva, and that one can carry some of those diseases, but not all of them. And that one is that one's a lot more uncommon to find, but that one's crazy. That one can only carry relapsing fever and Boston virus. So that one, and that it's very, very rare. So it's rare to encounter that stage tick, rare for that tick to have it, and the disease itself is rare. So you're looking at a very, very low chances of getting sick from that tiny one. So what do you do if you find a tick? Do you panic? No, don't panic. Remove the tick properly, and this is where I found the most number of myths and kind of urban legends surrounding it. Really, when it comes down to it, the simple solution works the best. Pair of tweezers, firmly grasp it, pull straight up with steady force. So I have a little animation, but I'm going to show you right here with some tweezers. So you don't need these fancy bent tweezers. I think these cost $10. You don't have to spend that much. Just your eyebrow tweezers work fine if you have a pair of those. But the idea is that you come in from, grab like this. Don't grab, I had someone come in and they grab like that, and they ended up making a bloody mess of the tick. You want to come in sideways, and what you're trying to grab is this part of the tick. This part's called the scutum. That's shield. And kind of true to its name, it's the hardened part of the tick. It's very hard. This part, this back end, expands and gets really soft. So if you try to grab this part, you're going to make a mess with that. If you grab this part, that's a nice, hard, firm part to grab on the tick. This part here, like I said, that hypostome, that's the only part that enters your body. That part can break off. You don't want it to break off, but that part can break off sometimes when you're removing the tick because of the barbs, the cement. Something's got to give. Either your skin's going to rip or the tick's mouth part's going to break off. If that happens, that's okay. That's actually not going to continually pump in disease into your body. It's going to be an inert object, a little bit like a splinter. So you would want to apply a little bit of antiseptic to that area to prevent infection. Where the diseases exist in this tick is actually this back end here and these sides here. So getting this whole body off, that's the most important part of getting the tick off. Like I said, you want to apply some antiseptic. That hypostome can cause some secondary infection. What do you do after you remove the tick? So what do you guys do after you find the tick? Jump for joy. Most of the people, they flush it down the toilet.
Yeah, flush it.
Flush it down the toilet. When I was a kid, like I said, my dad used to hit it with a hammer, and I still think that's the most masculine way to kill a tick. I still find that to be very, very gratifying. But I'm going to tell you to do the exact opposite. They tell you to save that tick, bag it, and then date it. And when I say date it, you want to write that date on that bag. And the reason behind this is that you're trying to build a story to your case, some documented evidence. Because like I said, the stuff with Lyme and all those weird diseases, you want as much data on your side as possible, information to give that physician, to help your case if you don't agree with that physician's opinion. And it starts with having the date and the specimen of the tick. You want the specimen to be able to identify the tick. You want the date to be able to track that bite. So if you let's say you develop symptoms in July, and you're like, I think it was been a month ago, but maybe it was 3 weeks ago or 2 months, and I don't know. Having that date, maybe you don't need that specific date, but just write first week of June, second week of June, that kind of thing, just so you have this story to kind of fall back on. For a fee, you can have this tick tested. I recommend tickreport.com, and the reason behind that's run through UMass Amherst. So there's a few reasons why I recommend it. One, it's run through a university, not this private company that might test your tick at this outrageous fee and give you information that's not even published or not even accurate. Tick Report, it's reliable data. They're the cheapest. They run the best. They run actually qPCR, so they run the most accurate method of testing this, and they're the quickest. And also their data actually goes into a database that generates areas of risk within the county. So you're kind of helping yourself, but you're kind of helping the county too when you send it off to Tick Report. But here's a couple other reasons, just in case I haven't sold it to you. This is a black-legged tick, Ixodes scapularis. This was on a 79-year-old woman. This was attached to her back. She said 12 hours, but the size of that tick tells me it's on for over 24 hours. And this came back with Lyme disease, positive for Lyme disease, but also babesiosis. And so like I said, if she walked into our doctor's office at her age and just said, I was bit by a black-legged tick, I think it was on for 12 hours. That doctor might just send her on her way because 12 hours, it's under the 24-hour rule. She might not get that medication. Or they might give her just doxycycline, and then that's not going to treat her for babesiosis. And then it might land her in the hospital. So having this report on hand saying, okay, now the doctor can look at the size of the tick, maybe not just take her word for it for the 12-hour rule, and then look at these two diseases. It doesn't mean she has these, but maybe that as a physician they might say, all right, you might be at risk for these two different diseases. And they might do something differently. Maybe not, maybe they won't, maybe they will, who knows. Second reason, what if that tick comes back negative? So this tick was, again, an engorged black-legged tick. This time it was on a 2-year-old boy. So it's kind of nice knowing that that particular tick came back with no pathogens. So I kind of like, that's almost like peace of mind right there. Last thing, I recommend you photograph the bite site. Again, because it gives you evidence. So these are both bullseye rashes. So even though this one looks like your classic bullseye rash, this one might look like, I don't know, you got punched in the stomach or something. They're both the bullseye rash. And so, depending on what physician you go to see, I met a man, he was out in Arizona, and he had a rash similar to this. And he went in and he's like, I'm pretty sure I have Lyme disease. And the doctor in Arizona says, no, we don't have Lyme there. And he was like, no, I think I have it. And the doctor was like, all right. I'll email my colleague out in Massachusetts. He emailed his colleague was like, that's Lyme disease. And he was right. So you can always, what if he didn't do that, didn't push on that? At least with this photo, now you can take it to another doctor. And your doctor, it helps your doctor too, because your doctor might say, if you walk in, you're just like, I swear I had a rash, now it's gone. Your doctor might be like, oh yeah, sure you did, I don't know. So it helps the doctor, it helps the patient, it helps everyone. It's just more evidence, and I think that's always a good thing. How hard is it? We have cameras on our phones nowadays, you just take a picture. What about pets? So this is the last segment. So you got the yard protection, maybe. So you got proper treatment for your pets. So you got this thing, Canine Advantage 2, Advantage 2. This says small dog and this says small cat. I know this looks like a cat, but do not use this on a cat. If you did, this could potentially kill your cat. Sometimes people buy this because maybe, I don't know, the dog stuff is on sale. Maybe they want to double dip and they have a dog and a small cat. Maybe they want to use the dog stuff on the cat too. Don't do that. Always buy products that are specific to that type of animal and that size of animal. You can also vaccinate your dogs against Lyme. Some people say, like, how come we don't have a vaccine? That is a long story. You would be here for another 2 to 3 hours if I wanted to walk down that road. But they're working on it. We used to have one. It was taken off the market, and they're trying to put a whole brand new one on there. And tick checks, that's the last thing. So dogs can't check themselves, so you should check them. And last but not least, there is no tick season. So the deer tick has a 2-year life cycle. It produces glycerol, antifreeze, in its blood. So anytime you get temperatures above 32 degrees, which we've been having very recently, you can have tick activity. What do ticks do in the winter? Besides the glycerol, they're going to cuddle up underneath blankets of leaves and snow. And what we've noticed is that actually insulates them. You might not think of snow as being an insulator, but ticks don't really die until it gets very, very far below -0. And so that buffers that wind and those temperatures from reaching those low numbers. They would actually cause mortality in ticks. And you can see this with incidence rates. So, this month, June and July, that's where you get the highest number of tick diseases. Now, the people getting these diseases will probably bit back during this time. But you get you get Lyme disease cases year-round. December, January, February. These cases, there's no way that this was a reported case from last summer. They're still getting bit year-round and coming down with tick-borne diseases. So the bottom line is that if we aren't protecting ourselves, who will? We can't make doctors better. We can't stop the deer. We can't stop people building somewhere. Maybe you guys, as a land trust, can stop more of this development of land and conserving land. But in general, I can't stop that development of land. But there are proven methods that actually work and will keep you really, really safe. And they will lead to healthier, happier, longer life. And so I'll take any questions. Here's some information on where to get those products.
Well, those statistics for Nantucket were staggering.
They're crazy. So what we noticed with Nantucket and Dukes County